Deve Gurvani Pacharine, Nirvishesha Shinyavari Paschatadesha Tarine. So, translation. Lord Gauranga is calling. Wake up, sleeping souls. Wake up, sleeping souls. How long will you sleep on the lap of the witch called Maya? Number 2. Somebody please read.
You have forgotten the way of devotional service and are lost in the world of birth and death.
Number 3.
Hare Krishna. I have descended just to save you. Other than myself, you have no friend in this world.
Number 4.
I have brought the medicine that will wipe out the disease of illusion from which you are suffering. Take this Mahamantra Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Number 5.
Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, I fall at the Lord's lotus feet, having taken shelter. This Mahamantra.
Jai. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki.
Jai.
Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai, Hare Krishna, dear devotees. We are continuing the study of the Caitanya Charitamrita as we do every Wednesday. We are in the Madhya Lila, chapter 6, and we're picking up on text number 248. For context, we are studying about the deliverance of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And this is after he has been converted, transformed, maybe a better word, by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and is now a devotee and disciple of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Sri Krishna. And so this is his post transformation, as he's now appreciating the glories of Lord Chaitanya. So pick up on 248. Nrsimha Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. জগদানন্দ দামোদর দুই সঙ্গে লয়া ঘরে আইল ভট্টাচার্য জগন্নাথ দেখিয়া.
Translation. After visiting the temple of Lord Jagannath, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya returned home with Jagadananda and Damodar.
উত্তম উত্তম প্রসাদ বহুত আনিলা নিজ বিপ্র হাতে দুই জনা সঙ্গে দিলা
The Bhattacharya brought large quantities of excellent food remnants, blessed by Lord Jagannath. All this prasadam was given to his own Brahmana servant, along with Jagadananda and Damodar.
নিজকৃত দুই শ্লোক লিখিয়া তাল পাতে প্রভুকে দিহ বলি দিল জগদানন্দ হাতে
Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya then composed 2 verses on the leaf of a palm tree. Giving the palm leaf to Jagadananda Prabhu, the Bhattacharya requested him to deliver it to Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu.
প্রভু স্থানে আইলা দুহে প্রসাদ পত্রী লয়া মুকুন্দ দত্ত পত্রী নিল তার হাতে পায়া
Jagadananda and Damodar then returned to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, bringing him both the prasadam and the palm leaf on which the verses were composed. But Mukunda Datta took the palm leaf from the hands of Jagadananda before he could deliver it to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
দুই শ্লোক বাহির ভিতে লিখিয়া রাখিল তবে জগদানন্দ পত্রী প্রভুকে লয়া দিল
Mukunda Datta then copied the 2 verses on the wall outside the room. After this, Jagadananda took the palm leaf from Mukunda Datta and delivered it to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
প্রভু শ্লোক পরিপত্র ছিন্ডিয়া ফেলিল ভিত্তে দেখি ভক্ত সব শ্লোক কণ্ঠ কইল
As soon as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu read the 2 verses, he immediately tore up the palm leaf. However, all the devotees read these verses on the outside wall, and they all kept them within their hearts. The verses read as follows. So we'll see why Lord Chaitanya tore it up. But Mukunda Datta, after looking at it, we can surmise that he knew that Lord Chaitanya would not want these prayers released, so he took the opportunity to copy them down before they got to Lord Chaitanya, and he put them on the wall. Let's read them.
বৈরাগ্য বিদ্যা নিজ ভক্তি যোগা শিক্ষার্থম একা পুরুষ পুরাণঃ শ্রীকৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য শরীরধারী কৃপাম বুদ্ধির ইয়াস্তম অহম প্রপদ্যে
These are the prayers that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had composed. Let me take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who has descended in the form of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to teach us real knowledge, his devotional service, and detachment from whatever does not foster Krishna consciousness. He has descended because he is an ocean of transcendental mercy. Let me surrender to his lotus feet. Let's repeat. We'll do this kind of a little bit sentence by sentence. Let's repeat this together. Let me take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna,
Let me take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna,
who has descended in the form of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu
who has descended in the form of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu
to teach us real knowledge,
teach us real
to
knowledge,
teach us real knowledge,
his devotional service,
his
his devotional service,
and detachment from whatever does not foster Krishna consciousness.
And detachment from whatever does not foster Krishna
Krishna
consciousness.
consciousness.
He has descended because he is an ocean of transcendental mercy.
He has descended because he is an ocean of transcendental mercy.
Let me surrender unto his lotus feet.
Let me surrender unto his lotus feet, Hare Krishna.
Purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. This verse and the following verse are included in the Caitanya Chandrodaya Nataka 6, 74, and 75 by Sri Kavi Karnapura. Text 255.
Kalannashtam bhakti yogam nijam yaha padush kartum Krishna Chaitanya nama abhirbhutastasya padarabhinde gadam gadam lilayatam chitta vrinaga.
Translation. Let my consciousness, which is like a honeybee, take shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has just now appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to teach the ancient system of devotional service to himself. This system had almost been lost due to the influence of time. Let's repeat again like we did the last one. Let my consciousness, which is just like a honeybee,
Let my consciousness, which is like a honeybee,
take shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
Take shelter of lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
who has just now appeared as Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu
who has just now appeared as Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu,
teach the ancient system of devotional service to
to teach the ancient system of devotional service to himself.
This system had almost been lost due to the influence of time.
This system had almost been lost due to the influence of time.
Purport. As Lord Krishna states in the Bhagavad Gita 4:7, we can all repeat, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bharata abhutanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharat, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. This is also the case with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in this world as a disguised incarnation of Krishna. But his appearance is confirmed in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Mahabharata, and other Vedic scriptures. He appeared in order to teach the fallen souls in this material world. For in this age of Kali, almost everyone has become attached to the fruitive and ritualistic activities and mental speculation. Consequently, there was a great need to revive the system of devotional service. The Lord himself personally came down, disguised as a devotee, so that the fallen populace may take advantage of the Lord's example. At the conclusion of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna advised complete surrender unto him, promising all protection to his devotee. Unfortunately, people are so fallen that they cannot accept the instructions of Lord Krishna. Therefore, Krishna returned with the same mission, but he executed it in a different way. As Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he ordered us to surrender unto himself But as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he taught us how to surrender to Krishna. Therefore, he is praised by the Goswamis. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate. Lord Sri Krishna is certainly the personality of Godhead, but he is not as magnanimous as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Krishna simply gave orders for one to become his devotee. Manmana bhavamad bhakta. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually taught the process of Krishna consciousness. If one wants to become a devotee of Krishna, he must first take shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, following in the footsteps of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and other exalted devotees. Hare Krishna. What a wonderful purport by His Divine Grace. I believe that was all very clear. One point that I want to stress here that is being made is that when Lord Krishna appeared, spoke Bhagavad Gita, he ordered us to surrender unto himself. Sarva dharmam pratyaja mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papevyo mokshaya shami masuchaha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I will deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. But the process to surrender was not necessarily laid out. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he taught us how to surrender to Krishna. Therefore, he came as his devotee. And through his personal example, he taught this is how you surrender to Krishna in pure loving devotional service. Therefore, when we go to our ability to serve Lord Krishna, to understand Lord Krishna, to surrender to Lord Krishna, it comes through the mercy, the grace of Lord Chaitanya. So therefore, he is praised as being more magnanimous than Lord Sri Krishna. The same personality. Lord Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya is also the original personality of Godhead, transformed into his devotee, wanting the desire to, one, for an external reason, to deliver the Sankirtan movement, the Yuga Dharma, to set the example as a devotee, but also to relish within himself the mood in which the experience that Srimati Radharani was experiencing. So this is Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya is being now glorified by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya as an ocean of transcendental mercy who came to revive and preserve the ancient tradition of bhakti. We can remember this when we remember these prayers. When we're in the temple and offer our obeisances to the deities, and we're in front of each deity, it's a nice time to remember prayers like this. And we can offer these prayers at those times. We can offer them anytime. But these two prayers that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, as well as this other prayer, composed by Srila Rupa Goswami, Namo Mahavanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate, Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Namaha. We can recite these prayers as we offer our respectful obeisances to Shri Shri Gaur Nitai. Any questions, comments, or thoughts on this particular passage and these two particular verses composed by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya? Anything? If not, we'll continue. We can mark this down so you can go back and look at it again. 2 Madhya Lila 6, 254 and 255, if you want to learn these verses so by heart so we can recite them in front of the Lord. If there are no questions or comments, thoughts or expressions, let's go to text 256.
এই দুই শ্লোক ভক্ত কণ্ঠে রত্নহার সার্বভৌমের কীর্তি ঘোষে ঢক্কা বাদ্যকার.
These 2 verses composed by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya will always declare his name, fame, as loudly as a pounding drum, for they have become pearl necklaces around the necks of all devotees. So this is giving importance to these 2 verses. It's an ornament that devotees wear around their necks. So we can take that as some instruction to learn these verses and being able to recite them in glorification of Lord Caitanya. Lord Caitanya, let's continue.
সার্বভৌম হইলা প্রভুর ভক্ত একতান মহাপ্রভুর সেবা বিনা নাহি জানে আন.
Indeed, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya became an unalloyed devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He did not know anything but the service of the Lord.
শ্রীকৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য শচীসুত গুণধাম এই ধ্যান এই জপ লয় এই নাম.
The Bhattacharya always chanted the holy name of Sri Krishna Chaitanya, son of Mother Sachi, the reservoir of all good qualities. Indeed, chanting the holy names became his meditation.
একদিন সার্বভৌম প্রভু আগে আইলা নমস্কার করি শ্লোক পড়িতে লাগিলা.
One day, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya came before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and after offering obeisances, began to recite a verse.
ভাগবতের ব্রহ্মস্তবে শ্লোক পড়িলা শ্লোক শেষে 2 অক্ষর পাঠ ফিরাইলা.
He began to quote one of Lord Brahma's prayers from Srimad Bhagavatam, but he changed 2 syllables at the end of the verse.
তাতে অনুকম্পম সুসমীক্ষমান ভুঞ্জানা এভাত্মা কৃতম বিপাকম হৃদভাগ ভিপুর্ভির বিধাধান নমস্তে জীবেতে ও ভক্তি পদে সা দয়া ভাগ.
The Bhattacharya recited, "One who seeks your compassion and thus tolerates all kinds of adverse conditions due to the karma of his past deeds, who engages always in your devotional service with his mind, words, and body, and who always offers obeisances unto you, is certainly a bona fide candidate for becoming your unalloyed devotee. Purport. When reciting this verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10.14.8, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya changed the original reading from Mukti Pade to Bhakti Pade. Mukti means liberation, emerging into the impersonal Brahman effulgence. Bhakti means rendering transcendental service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because of having developed pure devotional service, the Bhattacharya did not like the word Muktipade, which refers to impersonal Brahman feature of the Lord. However, he was not authorized to change the words of Srimad Bhagavatam, as Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu will explain. Although the Bhattacharya changed the word in his devotional ecstasy, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not approve of it. Very interesting, this interaction that is going on here between Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Lord Chaitanya. This verse, 10.14.8, is a very famous verse, often recited by devotees. In this verse, and specifically in the purport to this verse, Srila Prabhupada explains how a person who is taken to the path of devotional service actually has karma, their karma is burned up. And what they are experiencing is actually not their karma, even though they are suffering, still suffering different bodily type of conditions. It is not actually due to their karma that those that are engaged in pure devotional service. And he explains how, if anybody is interested, they can go back and read about this, that actually it's the Lord's mercy to help you detach from any type of material attachments that one may still have while in this body. But it is not actually, it's not actually karma anymore, because those reactions have been removed. However, still some attachment may remain, and therefore, in order to, we have to, yeah, something has to be done with these lingering attachments. So the Lord gives these token reactions in order to help us, to let us be reminded that we are not our bodies, and also to help us move through the material attachments that we have. Anyway, it's a great purport, 10.14.8. But did anybody pick up on why Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya changed the word from Mukti Pade to Bhakti Pade?
It is given in the Srimad Bhagavatam.
What was given in the Srimad Bhagavatam?
Mukti Pade.
Yeah, Mukti Pade, yeah, right. But he changed it to Bhakti Pade.
Bhakti means
Because we don't want
transcendental
mukti,
service.
we want bhakti.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And specifically because he was coming from the path of impersonal liberation, where mukti is celebrated above bhakti. And the mukti that he was used to, it left such, after understanding the glories of devotional service, it left such a sour taste in his mouth. It was like a reminder of what his past life used to be, that he would criticize the path of devotional service previously. He thought it was inferior to liberation. And the liberation that he would that he was aspiring for was an impersonal liberation that denied the existence of the Lord's personal form. which also means denying a potential of any type of relationship. There was no relationship or ecstasy that could come out of a relationship. The soul had no actual identity of being a servant of the Lord. In impersonal liberation, one experiences eternality. And that eternal feeling of being separated from material misery, they mistaken to be ananda, bliss. But that bliss is only short-lived. Not short-lived. I mean, they can remain in the Brahmajyoti for a very long time. But Srila Prabhupada, he explains that eventually, because there's no relationship and the soul's constitutional dharma is to serve, eventually they'll have to come out of this state of impersonal liberation, and they typically fall back down and engage themselves in some type of humanitarian work because that desire for service is still there. So remembering this, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya didn't want anything to do with mukti, so he changed these words. And we'll hear more about this in the next verse, but Lord Chaitanya did not authorize this change and was not happy about this, even though he was expressing devotional sentiments, and the mood and transformation that the Bhattacharya went through was correct. You can't simply just change the Shastra as he had done. Any questions or comments before we move on to Lord Chaitanya's response? Okay, let us go forward. 262.
প্রভু কহে মুক্তিপদে ইহা পাঠ হয়, ভক্তিপদে কেনে পড়ো, কি তোমার আশায়?
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately pointed out in that verse the word is mukti pade, but you have changed it to bhakti pade. What is your intention?
ভট্টাচার্য কহে ভক্তি সম নহে মুক্তি ফল, ভগবৎ ভগবৎ ভক্তি বিমুখের হয় দণ্ড কেবল।
Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya replied, the awakening of pure love of Godhead, which is the result of devotional service, far surpasses liberation from material bondage. For those adverse to devotional service, merging into the Brahman effulgence is a kind of punishment. Well, we can just see the transformation of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya from just a few days before. The way that he's speaking now about devotional service and impersonal liberation has completely changed. Complete opposite ends of the spectrum. Purport. In the Brahmananda Purana, it is said, Siddhalokas tu samasya pare yatra vishantihi siddha brahma sukhe magna daityas cha harina hata. In Siddhaloka, Brahmaloka, there are two kinds of living entities. Those who are killed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead due to their having been demons in their previous lives, and those who are very fond of enjoying the impersonal effulgence of the Lord. The word tamasa means the covering of the universe. Layers of the material elements cover the universe, And outside these coverings is the impersonal Brahman effulgence. If one is destined to remain in the Lord's impersonal effulgence, he misses the opportunity to render service to the personality of Godhead. Therefore, devotees consider remaining in the impersonal Brahman effulgence a kind of punishment. Sometimes devotees think of merging into the Brahman effulgence, and consequently, they are promoted to Siddhaloka. Because of their impersonal understanding, they are actually punished. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya continues to explain the distinction between Muktipada and Bhaktipada in the following verses. Sometimes this desire, as we begin the practice of devotional service, it's there in the beginning. We just want to be liberated, and by doing devotional service is a means to become liberated. We're tired of the suffering of this world. We just want it to end, and we want to go to a place where we just won't be bothered by the troubles that exist within this world. It's very natural to feel this way. We want to have some type of assurance that after this body dies, I will go to I will go to that place where I will be able to enjoy. I will not have to suffer. But we're learning Nectar of Devotion. We learned the Srimad Bhagavatam. And we learn here in the Caitanya Caritamrtia that devotional service far surpasses this mood of wanting to become liberated. And actually, it's included in the process of devotional service, that one that takes to devotional service automatically becomes liberated. They become free from the influences of material nature. Even though still remaining there, they're unaffected, by its impacts. And that attachment to the Lord's service brings about an inner joy, satisfaction, where one actually forgets about one's own destination. One's no longer motivated to do it because they will get some reward of liberation at the end of one's life. Actually, they begin to feel liberated while in this present body. But that is no longer the driving force. The motivation becomes actual giving pleasure to Lord Sri Krishna. Srila Prabhupada's giving here some information about if we do still have this selfish desire for our own liberation, there's a destiny, which we want to avoid. But those that are attracted to pure devotional service, that have made pure devotional service their goal in life, they see this merging into the Brahman effulgence as a kind of punishment. And this is where Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he is coming from in changing the words Muktipada to Bhaktipada. Let's continue. 264 and 265. Oops.
কৃষ্ণের বিগ্রহ যেই সত্য নাহি মানে, যেই নিন্দা যুদ্ধাদি করে তার শনে, সেই দুয়ের দণ্ড হয় ব্রহ্ম সাহায্য মুক্তি, তার মুক্তি ফল নহে যেই করে ভক্তি।
The Bhattacharya continued. The impersonalists who do not accept the transcendental form of Lord Sri Krishna, and the demons who are always engaged in blaspheming and fighting with him, are punished by being merged into the Brahman effulgence. But that does not happen to the person engaged in devotional service of the Lord. So there are two categories, if you remember, that enter into the Brahma Jyoti, the impersonalist, and then those also that are demons that fight with the Lord. And we see this in Krishna's pastimes, we hear about them getting liberation. So this is impersonal liberation, with the exception of some of the demons that got other types of benedictions, such as um, Putana, who actually, because of her desire to give Krishna her breast milk and act as a mother, even though she was pretending, Krishna took her good quality and magnified it. And actually, she was awarded as in the position of motherhood in Vaikuntha. Text 266.
যদ্যপি সে মুক্তি হয় পঞ্চ প্রকার শালক্য সামীপ্য সারূপ্য সাষ্ঠী সাহায্য তার.
There are 5 kinds of liberation: Salokya, Samapya, Swarupa, Sarsti, and Sayuja. Purport. Saloka means that after material liberation, one is promoted to the planet where the Supreme Personality of Godhead resides. Samipya means remaining an associate to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sarupya means attaining the four-handed form, exactly like that of the Lord. Sharsti means attaining opulence like those of the Supreme Lord. And Sayuja means merging into the Brahman effulgence of the Lord. These are 5 types of liberation. So Sayuja is one that devotees never aspire for, this Sayuja liberation. Text 267.
শালক্যাদি যদি হয় সেবাদার তবু কদাচিৎ ভক্ত করে অঙ্গীকার.
If there is a chance to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, a pure devotee sometimes accepts the Salokya, Sarupya, Samapya, or Sarshti forms of liberation, but never Sayuja. Text 268.
সাহায্য শুনিতে ভক্তের হয় ঘৃণা ভয় নরক মাঞ্ছয়ে তবু সাহায্য না লয়.
A pure devotee does not like to even hear about Sayuja Mukti, which inspires him with fear and hatred. Indeed, the pure devotee would rather go to hell than merge into the effulgence of the Lord. Purport. Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati has sung, Kaivalyam Nari Kayate. The impersonalist conception of becoming one with the effulgence of the Lord is exactly like hell. Therefore, the 5 types of liberation, the first 4, Salokya, Samapya, Swarupya, and Sarshti, are not so undesirable because they can be avenues of service to the Lord. Nonetheless, a pure devotee of the Lord rejects even these types of liberation. He aspires only to serve Krishna birth after birth. He is not very interested in stopping the repetition of birth, for he simply desires to serve the Lord, even in hellish circumstances. Consequently, the pure devotee hates and fears Sayuja Mukti, merging into the effulgence of the Lord. This merging is due to an offense committed against the transcendental loving service of the Lord, and therefore it is not at all desirable for a pure devotee. Any questions or comments on this? Is this clear? Any doubts, any confusion with regards to these verses that we're reading about impersonal liberation, the 5 types of liberation, 4 of which can be accepted because they can lead to devotional service. Because one can have a relationship, interaction, and engage in seva to the Lord. However, Sayuja, this idea of merging into the impersonal liberation, is never seriously considered by a person on the path of devotional service, and should not be considered, to the point where they consider it to be like hell. The reason being is because for a devotee, his relationship with the Supreme Lord is everything. They exist only for the Lord's pleasure, to serve the Lord. And for that to be, the thought of that being taken away, there's no purpose in actually having any life. There's no purpose in existence. There's no joy that exists outside of serving the Lord. So they would rather remain in this material world in pure Krishna consciousness than residing in the Brahmajyoti, devoid of relationship. Because whether one is in this world in pure Krishna consciousness, they're actually residing in the spiritual world. Because it's all a matter of consciousness. They may be able to see everything as Krishna's energy. And residing in this world, delivering the message of Krishna consciousness to the souls that have forgotten about Krishna. They see this as devotional service to the Lord and feel themselves very fortunate to be able to render service to the Lord. Such is the mood of a pure devotee. That's why these devotees are so special. Not even desiring their own welfare. If we are not there in our understanding, and if our devotional service is not matured to that realization, we can at least try serve those devotees who have that realization. We can serve the principle, meaning aspire for it, don't try to minimize it, and recognize the glory of it, and cherish it as our goal. Uh, any, we'll stop here for today. Just wanted to see any takeaways that anybody has from these verses. Nothing. How about, why do you think Lord Chaitanya in the beginning, I know we've kind of moved past that along this the conversational thread between Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Lord Chaitanya. But originally, Jagadananda, he delivered these palm leaves with prayers to Lord Chaitanya, and Mukunda had intercepted them, and Lord Chaitanya tore it up. Why do you believe that? Why did Lord Chaitanya tear them up? Anyone? If you, Nrsimha Prabhu,
Yes, Prabhuji.
why do you feel why did Lord Chaitanya tear up the prayers that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya composed for him?
Because he compared him with the God. So Chaitanya Prabhu did not like that.
Yeah. Because he came as Krishna's devotee. He wasn't interested in it, would have blown his cover. It would have interfered with his mission. Yeah, correct. Thank you. Okay, anything else before we conclude here? We will pick up at text 269 on this topic of liberation, pure devotional service. This is all very important. These purports are very informative by Srila Prabhupada. They are self-contained. We read these purports, what we need to understand about the process of devotional service, Srila Prabhupada is giving us. For that, we offer our respectful obeisances unto His divine grace. And let us conclude by offering our obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who are just like desire trees, who can fulfill all the desires of everyone and are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhuvya eva cha patitanam pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo namo namaha.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Antaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.